All right, well, we are on to layer number 2 of our neon signs. So that's pretty exciting. We should at this point have our shade layer done for any of the colors that we have. And we're ready to go move on to the next layer then. So let's chat about those layers, okay? So what we did last time was that first layer, the wide layer, the shade layer. Now we're moving on to our second layer, which is going to be what we call our medium base layer. So it's going to be a little bit smaller size. We want to make sure we have that little bit of edge showing around the whole border of each letter or the image that we're painting as we build up. It's just going to keep getting smaller and smaller. So you want to use a smaller paintbrush each time too. Now for the second medium base layer, if you have a nice opaque paint, meaning that it is not see-through, you can just use it straight out of the tube. You do not have to do any sort of mixing or anything like that. If, however, you have a transparent type of paint that's very see-through, you're going to probably want to mix it with white just to make sure that it's opaque enough. And yes, it does change the color, right? It's going to lighten it. It's technically turning it to a tint. But if it's so transparent that it keeps showing through no matter how many layers you put down, you know, sometimes we just have to go with the lesser of two evils. So, all right. So let's get going with that. I have my base layer ready to go here. And actually you can see I've already started painting this. So you can see, let's look at the number 4. I think that'll be the easiest one to see. I've got my first layer down for this. So I want to, when I'm painting it, I just want to make sure that I'm leaving a little bit of edge all the way around here. So I painted once with that base layer, but you can probably tell, even though mine was transparent and I did add some white to it, it's still a little transparent. So I am going to have to do a couple coats to just make sure that it's nice and opaque enough, and that we don't have issues with it being too translucent. All right, so painting that once again. As I'm painting this, I want to make sure that I'm getting those lines as crisp and straight as possible. I know it can be a little hard to do. Painting is so much different than using a marker or color pencil. We do tend to get a little bit more wavier edges and stuff like that, but it's a skill we are all working on, right? Definitely not looking for perfection here, just looking that we are building our skills, spending our time doing so. All right, so here's my second coat of that second layer, and I'll let that dry and see how it looks before I would ever put the third coat, or the third layer, the next color, which is going to be lighter yet. Of course, we've got it done with the 1984, but I still have to do that to my other colors as well. So I still need to make sure I do my base layer with leaving that little bit of edge, so the shade layer showing of my blue, and same for the purple as well. I have to make sure I'm doing that to the whole thing before we're ready to move on to our tint layer next time. We'll see you then.